Hello everyone. In today's episode, we will mostly concern ourselves with upgrading the roads around the steel mill area, building a loading station for trucks at the gravel processing facility, and building a secret police headquarters. Doing all the work required to pave the roads will unfortunately prevent us from starting construction on the steel mill itself, but we will be able to unpause it as our last action in this episode. I had a bit of a hectic week when trying to edit this episode, so I apologize in advance for the less than usual amount of commentary in this one. First, a viewer suggestion. I could have done it in the previous episode, but at this point, it is starting to become important, rather than just a question of convenience. I will build an aggregate loading station for the gravel, so trucks spend less time waiting to be filled. For that, I need to move the fire station. Unfortunately, it's only possible at the industrial site. The border outpost would require massive reconstruction to achieve the same goal. Live and learn. Now you know what to look out for, so you don't make the same mistakes as me. I also added a fire station at the farms. With the steel mill, I thought it best if we build a dedicated firefighting facility, just in case. Luckily for us, with these footpaths, anyone arriving at the bus stop will be able to reach it. I will set up a temporary commuter bus line for it, but only until the steel mill is up and running. Next, as I said in the previous episode, a small playground would look nice in this middle section of the housing complex. It is a purely cosmetic addition. I didn't notice that they are slightly misaligned. I will replace them in a couple minutes. While building all those roads around the steel mill, our gravel was completely depleted at the border outpost. One of the reasons why I'm building the truck loading station for it, but I will also update the distribution offices, so more trucks are moving gravel there. I really need to think about building a centralized construction layout. Something we can copy-paste anywhere, and we'd only need to connect it to the road and rail network. But until we are producing the materials ourselves, distribution would be a bit of a nightmare to set up. But playing around with a layout wouldn't be counterproductive. I guess when I unpause the steel mill, we can occupy ourselves with that little project while it builds. Unfortunately, that's for future episodes. Here, I noticed that these playgrounds are not aligned quite right. Let's remedy the situation. That's better. This is a bit of a waiting around kind of episode. So, let's entertain ourselves with a bit of tree planting around the mines. We will have to move these dirt roads around a bit to prepare the site for the loading station. The main issue is the small piece between the aggregate storage and the current fire station. To make room for the conveyor belt, it needs to go. Cannot thank the viewer who reminded me enough. Having that loading station will speed up gravel deliveries quite a bit. Good thing I checked in on the quarries. One of the excavators gone to refuel. But they should have fuel already. As it turns out, when I started selling power, I cut the connection for this substation. We need to drag a set of cables down here from the power station, so we can use the quarries uninterrupted again. Although, I just noticed that we used one of the 4 medium voltage connections on the power station. That means we won't be able to use all of them to power our rail network. At the start, it won't be a problem, but over time, we will need more. But at that time, we might have more than one power station, so hopefully it won't be an issue. The playgrounds are done. Let's just put a bit of gravel under them, and we are pretty much done with the internal layout. We just need a couple more trees. It looks rather bleak with all the shadows, but the entrance is facing east. So, if we had the proper day-night cycle enabled, the residents would have a glorious sunrise to look forward to every morning. Here, I will set the minimum required loyalty for the necessary jobs to 35%, in preparation for our secret police HQ. For now, everyone can work as teachers or radio moderators, but once we know about individual dedication to the cause, only the most loyal citizens will be able to. It will be a bit unnecessary though. I will explain why later. This is the last truck moving stuff to the new fire department. Once it's built, we can start working on the truck loading station. Everything's delivered. That 22 kilograms of bricks seem to be some kind of rounding error. It happens sometimes. The farm fire station is also well on its way to completion. In the meantime, the power was reconnected for the quarries. Non-stop operation from here on. And the fire station is complete. Let's move the old trucks there, and tell the local DO to start bringing fuel for its internal storage tanks. Time to build that loading station. I'll just rearrange the roads a bit, and we'll have a comfortable little plot of land for it. I considered using a dirt road as a driveway for it, but might as well build it properly right away. I purposefully removed the border outpost from the driveway's CO assignments. The town office is much closer, so stuff will be delivered faster. I mentioned before that I'm not happy with this dirt road leading to the substation. I will make it go between the steel mill and the coal processing plant instead. Yes, I did just use N to remove the fresh dirt. We are in September, and sowing season is long behind us. There was no danger of accidentally cheating with the crop growth. The fields have to be sown completely and need to be in the growing stage for this exploit to work. This field is already harvested, and is not sown. If I use N at this time, nothing happens. Although, to be perfectly honest, even if I did use this a couple times in the spring and early summer accidentally, I kind of doubt the resulting amount of growth would allow us to make 2 harvests for even a single field in a year. I will still avoid using it during growing season though, just to be safe. I mentioned in the last episode that I want to move this section of rail to the other side of the road, so we'd only have a level crossing once on the busy part of it. The second crossing would be on the mine's driveway, and that will be used much less frequently, so it's less impacted by trains occasionally blocking the flow of traffic. And since we're here, let's give this part a bit of a wider turn, so it doesn't encroach on the field's corner. And the farm fire station is also done. I'll just buy a single W50 IFA fire truck for it. We will need to do some road rearrangements and upgrades for the steel mill though, so we cannot use the bus stop just yet. I'll buy a couple microbuses as a temporary commuter line, so we will have fire coverage in the area. Never underestimate the power of workers. They managed to finish the foundations before the excavator even arrived. They even managed to finish the majority of the work on the main building, without the help of the crane truck too. Poor guy drove all the way here, only to barely do any work. With the loading station finished, we can reassign the distribution offices to it. We just remove the aggregate storage from the list as a pickup point, and set the station instead. No, that's the border storage. Keep looking. There we go. All done. Once the trucks that were already en route to the storage are done with their current deliveries, we should see a more rapid turnover of trucks coming to fill themselves with gravel. Time for the road overhaul I mentioned a couple times already. Basically, I'll try to go under the middle of the conveyor belt instead of the end of it, and make it all out of asphalt. With that, we won't need that gravel footpath, and I expect this area to become relatively high traffic in the future, so it's good to plan ahead. In hindsight, I could have done this right at the start, the same time as I placed the fire stations. The vast majority of the remaining runtime will mostly be about these roads getting built. Here, I slowly increase the radius of the curve on the road, so I can find the shallowest possible angle that will allow me to go under this conveyor. There we go. With this layout, and by making it a paved road, our workers will be able to reach the iron processing plant without needing to use that footpath. I will also start upgrading the main highway leading to the farm. This is as far as I'll go with it in this episode, mostly because of the impending winter, at which time forcing the traffic onto dirt roads would slow them down way too much. Here comes the secret police. Now this is a bit of an interesting issue I ran into. Before I built the radio station originally, I spent at least 3 or 4 sessions testing out the effectiveness of the loyalty boost it provided, and it gave me a steady increase, pretty much a straight line going up, and it even went beyond 40% in those tests. But now in the live series, citizen loyalty levels are pretty much frozen around 30 to 35%. In the test I had a straight line going up. Now I have a flat line. We had a couple patches since then, and one of them mentioned something about loyalty, so I assume that's what changed. Regardless, an average of 35% loyalty isn't so bad. I wish it was better, but we can coast on that number just fine. I'll only have to maintain the radio station, as it still seemed to be the reason we don't drop below our current average. That small paved road segment is done. We can remove the service connection. We can speed things up quite a bit by adding service roads at every intersection on these asphalt pieces. That way, we don't have to wait for the previous section to finish. From this point forward, I will have to switch to 4 times speed almost entirely. Nothing much happened for the rest of the episode. I will still chime in if something happens that is worth mentioning, so it won't be a Buster Keaton movie until my usual outro summary. I was wondering why this dumper went into the aggregate storage, instead of the loading station. Then I realized that I forgot to tell the construction office to switch pickup points. As I mentioned, I had a bit of a hectic week. My parents are moving house, and I was helping them with the furniture. My muscles are burning right now, and the palm of my hands are bright red from all the lifting. I expect to start shedding skin from it in a couple days' time. Watching the trucks go back and forth in fast forward is kind of therapeutic. Anyways, the biggest bottleneck right now is the lack of bricks. They emptied out the storage rather quickly, and now we have to wait for the distribution office to refill it with more from the border. Something we need to improve upon when we start tinkering with the construction layout in the next episode. I have absolutely no idea what the deal was with this patch of packed dirt. I couldn't remove it completely, like there was a building on it. Felt like some kind of bug. And the secret police HQ is complete. As you can see, our loyalty gains completely flatlined at the start of the year. In my tests, it was going beyond 40% at a steady rate. Something really borked up my plans. Oh well, 35% it is. If I set the loyalty requirement to 40% in the radio station, there would be at most 1 or 2 people working as moderators. Not nearly enough. At first I thought that we stopped raising it, because of all the young adults who just moved into their own new apartments, ever since we started building the prefab complex, but unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case. The 2 cars I bought for the secret police are a bit too busy. I'll buy 2 more. They are cheap, and there is no harm in letting a few of them sit idle, in case we overspent. All these long stretches of fast forwarding are the reason for the shorter than usual episode. Sorry about that. I'll unpause the 2 aggregate storages feeding the steel mill. Once the mill is complete, I'd prefer to move the raw materials into the storages, instead of the mill itself. I will quickly check what would happen if I set the minimum loyalty to 40% as a work requirement in the radio station. And the number of moderators are dropping rapidly. We have a couple people who are above 40%, but not nearly enough to sustain a stable employment if we excluded everyone below that. Back to 35% for now. It is the start of 1966. The second best snowplow in the vanilla game should be released this year. Cannot wait to start using that, instead of the current stable. With the new roads all done, I'm happy to see that workers can reach the processing plant on foot from the bus stop. Sorry for making this episode so sparse in terms of commentary. There were a couple small projects that needed to be done before work on the steel mill could begin. But we're over that hump now. So I will unpause the construction on it. The next episode will most likely be dedicated to building it, but to break up the monotony, I will also spend that time by designing a new construction layout that we can copy-paste anywhere we need. There are many things we need to improve, and construction efficiency is definitely one of them. Hopefully, we will start producing steel before the end of the next one. No promises, but that's the main goal. I hope you liked the video. If you did, dropping a like and subscribing to the channel just might motivate me to make more. Until then, see you later.